In The Power of the Dog, charismatic rancher Phil Burbank inspires fear and awe in those around him. When his brother brings home a new wife and her son, Phil goes to extra lengths to torment them in their new home. I see The Power of the Dog as a companion film for Paul Thomas Anderson's There Will Be Blood. The tone, themes, style and score, both composed by Radiohead's Johnny Greenwood, all feel connected somehow. Although Daniel Day-Lewis's performance in that film is pretty much untouchable perfection, this effort from Benedict Cumberbatch is not a million miles away. This is his best role to date, easily. Everyone else is also on their absolute A-game here. A fragile and raw Kirsten Dunst, an oppressed and simmering Jesse Plemons, and a what the hell is going on behind those eyes, Cody Smith-McPhee. All three hold their own against Cumberbatch and bring tons of shifting nuance to each of their roles. MVP of the film though, aside from Jane Campion, who writes and directs and deserves all the awards and plaudits heading her way, is cinematographer Ari Wegner. This is without doubt one of, if not the best looking film of 2021. These are the kind of films which make me very pleased I recently splashed out on a new 4K TV. The Power of the Dog has an excellent but slow ebb and flow of dread. You know that the character of Phil Burbank is either going to do something desperate or drive someone to desperate measures. You just know it's coming. Campion expertly paces the film. It is a little slow but never dull, as there are constant small increments in this sense of dread. There is one scene where I admit I started to fidget and was willing for the scene to get on with it. Then something happens which I didn't expect, and it was a genuine aha moment. And looking back, this scene gives something away pretty drastic that I really ought to have clicked to earlier. Finally, I felt genuinely sad I wasn't a fan of Johnny Greenwood's score for Spencer, but man, talk about redemption. This is up there with Hans Zimmer's Dune score for Score of the Year. My only real criticism of the film in general is that we never found out what powers the dog actually has. But my guess is laser eyes and super strength. My score for The Power of the Dog is 8.5 out of 10. In Ghostbusters Afterlife, the perfect companion piece to The Power of the Dog, a single mom and her two kids arrive in a small town, discovering their connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather left behind. Ghostbusters Afterlife is generally mildly likeable, almost purely down to the cast, but man, this is how you phone in a story, using only goodwill and fan service from the original film. The story of Afterlife is unbelievably lazy. Honestly, I was a little bored for the first half because there's just nothing exciting and interesting going on, and the film has a terrible habit of slowly building to tell you what you already know. Then there are some genuinely awful pieces of writing here. You're seriously telling me in a world where a giant marshmallow man comes alive in New York, not long after followed by the Statue of Liberty walking the street, plus ghosts flying everywhere and massive beams flying into the sky, that people now don't believe in ghosts or know that this happened? That kids don't know this was a thing? And that when obvious ghostly things happen, the actual daughter of a Ghostbuster won't believe that anything spooky is happening?
Fuck off!
This was written against the checklist of moments which had to be crammed into the film to try and appeal to the fans of the first film and also to make more money from new toys. Baby Stay Puft marshmallows, anyone? And how about coming up with a new threat instead of copying the original and some exact moments from that first film? How about actually writing something new and not just copying and pasting? Honestly, thank fuck for the cast who are impeccable. McKenna Grace is something else. This was a really great performance. Everyone else is pretty damn good too, thankfully, although a lot of them don't have a great deal to do, especially Finn Wolfhard, who you feel has been cynically hired to appeal to Stranger Things fans. There's some decent cinematography, effects and action, but overall, this is a monumentally lazy and vacuous box-ticking exercise. I'll expect the return of Vigo the Carpathian in the sequel. My score for Ghostbusters Afterlife is 4.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching.
Game over, man. It's game over.